So, now let us discuss about the types of negotiation. There are different kinds of negotiation. I have talked about the purpose, I have talked about the broad purpose, I have talked about specific purpose with respect to this. Now comes the type. So, types can be single issue oriented, it can be multiple issues oriented. Okay. If it is a single issue, that means there are people are negotiating for on a particular single issue, or it can be that there are so many issues are to be resolved and people are now negotiating. Then when it becomes single issue, it is sometimes easier because you have a very clear focus and you know the benefits or the loss, the merits or the demerits. But when it is multiple issues, then it becomes slightly complex. In multiple issues, then you have to weigh between the issues to find out how much you have arrived at success, because negotiation means somebody is refusing you. It is because of this, if you are aware, whenever a trade union group puts a charter of demand to the companies, to the management, they always put more than the number that they really think of putting together. That means they have 5 issues, but they will put 10 issues on that, and they want to gain positive answers or responses for those 10 issues, because they know very well that these 10 issues management will not give. So, if you put 5, management will negotiate and reduce it down to 3. So, it is better that I put 10, and then management will keep on negotiating and ultimately satisfy 5 of the issues, and the remaining 5 they will abandon it, cancel it, reject it or defer it. This is purely a ball game, this is a psychological game. Here what happens is that if it is a multiple issue, in such cases you should be very intelligent enough to put those real issues which you want the solution to for, and the other which are dummy issues which you put it together. Now, it will become a very bad results of the negotiation if suppose all your dummy issues have been accepted and the real issues have not been addressed. Be very careful about it. And here, that is the art of the negotiation. That is the skill by which that whenever you are seeing that management is clever enough that they are only trying to see which are the dummy issues, and they know that these are dummy issues and it involves lesser expenses or cost or trouble for them to execute it, they will keep on forcing on that and pushing on that. They will say you have put 10 issues and now okay, out of these issues we agree. And unfortunately, you found suddenly that if you are not aware or alert that the 5 issues which are dummy issues now got selected. And so, they will say, if suppose the management says we will accept out of the 10 issues only 5 issues and we will resolve it, of which management discussed and then found out these are the issues which will agree to, and you found that those were mostly the dummy issues. Actual issues are like salary raise, health benefits or medical benefits, or say housing benefits, or say the children's education benefits which are very essential, or say insurance. Such things are not addressed, but they were your prime issues. So, what happens is during multiple issues you put additional issues as dummy issues, but do not lose focus from the prime issues. The dummy issues you should be knowing. The moment you find in the process of negotiation the management is trying to push in the dummy issues and accept it, and the prime issues are being avoided, or they are trying to bypass, then the negotiation will take a different kind of turn. Okay, that is the interesting part of the whole negotiation. There is one very theoretical philosophy of this, distributive and integrative. What is distributive is, if suppose there is one item, a fixed asset, and that now has to be parted, shared between 2, then it will become a distributive one. An example let me give you. Suppose you have gone to a shop where you want to buy a product and the seller is going to part with the product. That means, it is a fixed asset where it is now going to be shared between these 2. What is the share? That particular item has a value which is nothing but a cost or a price for it. Okay? You are ready to pay the price, he is ready to part with it, then it will become distributive. That means, when there is a same booty being shared by 2, it will become distributive. And integrative is when you are parallelly trying to, there you are really not finding out that who is going to take how much share of that particular property or items or commodity. Here both of you are trying to go for, going together, you are negotiating together to add value to the whole system. That means basically two consultants working together for a project and getting a fees and then sharing. Okay? It is not that how much money they could have, see, one individual would have got. The thing is why they are sharing, because they are not only sharing the booty or they are sharing the fees, they are also sharing the labor. So it is integrative. Together they are trying to work it. So it is basically, we say that integrative is very much value based. If you find that somebody is helping you and he is getting a share, then it should not be treated as he is taking away my money. An example let me give you. Imagine a building has to be constructed. Material cost is separate. The labor cost is, say, 50 lakhs. Labor cost is 50 lakhs. Is it possible that one labor comes and he works for the entire work and takes away that 50 lakhs? It's impossible. Then two laborers, is it possible? No. Then they will find not only laborers or number of laborers, it's also the skill of the laborers. Then what happens is skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled laborers. This idea will come in and each of them will have their own rates based on their skill or their background education. So naturally now what is happening is that 50 lakhs is going to be now shared between a large number of persons. They are all going to work together. This is, and at that point of time deciding who will take how much share is integrative. That means this particular share or negotiation is based on the value added. And in the distributive one, it is something like this, that okay, there is a car which has to be sold and the person is now giving away the car, so he is losing the car. He will not have it anymore. Okay, in exchange he is going to get some compensation for it. So now he is losing the car. It cannot be that it's something like, like you have a cake and have the cake and eat it too. It's not possible. So in such kind of situations what happens is that you part with the car and in exchange you get some money. So there's a negotiation goes on. So distributive and integrative negotiation, these are very, very important concepts of negotiation. Then there would be single phase, multi-phase or renegotiations. Single phase is the negotiation happens only once, and in reality what happens is, when you go for purchasing an item, you go once, negotiate and then come back. The next day you go again, negotiate again further and you come back, and the third day you go and negotiate and buy. It never happens. So for products and such kind of items what happens is that it's a single phase one. You went there to a shop, you saw several products, you compared their qualities and then you fix your eye on one particular item, you ask about the price and then you say, is there any possibility that you reduce the price, give a discount, and it happens annual sales and all that. So you ask for a rebate or discount and the person says no. If he says no and if he doesn't change his stance, in such cases either you pay for it and take it or you come back without having it. It's a single phase, only one phase. In multi-phase what happens is that there are situations in which negotiation cannot stop in one phase. In the single phase is just a discussion. In the single phase in the first phase it's just a discussion. In the first phase what happens is you work it out that you work on the common platform, you express your intentions, your objectives, you express your qualities and your demands, and then next time again you sit together, work out the pricing. And the third time you again discuss and you have haggled on the pricing, you have negotiated on the pricing in the second phase. In the third phase you come to a conclusion that okay, now we have discussed, this is what was our objective of getting awarding this contract, and this is what you have proposed. Technically you are going to provide this, and now you are charging this much, and last time you have worked out that okay, this much money, this much is the price we are ready to pay subject to approval of our higher authority. So we have now talked to the higher authority. In the third phase now we are saying that higher authority is saying that they will be ready to award this contract at this particular rate. So it went into 3 phases. So this is how the multi-phase goes on. Sometime what happens is that renegotiation is very interesting. Most often for small items or single products, the single phase is enough. You may go once, but one thing let me tell you, for buying a product, if you negotiate first time and then you come back and then you go for second time negotiation, it will never work. You know what will be the kind of psychology that will be playing in the mind of the seller is this. You had wanted to buy one car, you came to the showroom, you saw the car, you also have taken a test drive, and now you are negotiating, can it be reduced by 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, and you are being refused through negotiation saying no, no, no. So basically, since they were saying no, so negotiation did not come up. And if suppose they said, okay, let me work it out, negotiation starts. If he says, let me talk to my boss if he has any option, negotiation starts. Okay? And now suppose after the boss has said, okay, in that case you can be given a 30,000 discount on this. You cannot say, okay, I'll come back tomorrow and discuss. If you do, then what happens is the next time when you come, if you start from the 30,000 to be reduced further to 50,000, it will not happen. Number one. Number two is, if suppose when you were offered 30,000 rebate and you rejected it, and then the next day you came and you said, I have thought about this, what you have offered, I had rejected it, but I am thinking that I can buy this car. Immediately he will say, sorry, the price has changed. The rebate was allowed only till yesterday, and today it has again gone back to the original. So you have to pay the original price. What has gone wrong in this? Basically, I'll tell you, the trick is this. The seller, he understood that this man, he could not take a decision that whether he should be happy with a 30,000 rebate, and he rejected it on our face, and he has gone back, and definitely he has gone to many other showrooms and checked the same car's price and the amount of rebate that he had been asking for, and he has found that our rebate is the maximum that we are giving. Others have not given so much of rebate. Then they found us to be the best in terms of rebate, and then he comes back to me second time. Now he is in a weaker position. So the seller will say, sorry, that particular scheme is closed, it was valid till yesterday. So today it is no longer valid, so you have to pay the full price, because now he knows that if the thing that he has done with this seller, he will do the same thing again going to the next seller saying, I have come back, and or else he will go to the third seller and says that I have come back. Everywhere the same thing he will keep on hearing. Okay? So it's a very strong intellectual game which comes up. So it's single phase, multi-phase. Single phase is not a problem really, but if it's a multi-phase, then you have to be very cautious, because in the whole, if there are long gaps between these phases, then you are likely to lose the whole game. What might happen is your opportunity goes out of your hand, and renegotiation is another. Sometimes what happens is, maybe with single or multi phases, suppose it has been negotiated and you are almost about to get the order. If they say, okay, we'll issue the order within 7 days, and suddenly on the 6th day you get a call, and then you are told that our authority is saying that they want to go for renegotiation, they are not happy with this negotiation. And this person who will be communicating with you, he will plead saying, I was not the authority, and see, I had to go to the boss. So when the boss was, I have informed the boss, and the boss says, no, at this rate we cannot give it. So he is asking for a renegotiation, and you have been called for the renegotiation. And if you have been called for the renegotiation, means earlier win of the negotiated rate is no longer valid. So it happens, renegotiation. Okay, sometime for AMCs also renegotiation happens. What happens here is, you got a contract, AMC contract for 3 years. Once the contract is over, then again to secure another 3 years of contract for AMC, you have to again go through the process of negotiation. That negotiation is the renegotiation. That means for the same task with the same company or between two parties, you are again negotiating, is also renegotiation. It can be straightforward, it can be complex. Going to a shop and looking at the item, making your choice, and ultimately buying, paying for the price and coming out is very straightforward. There is a tender in which you have competed, and there is a criteria which has to be adhered to, and after you have adhere to the criteria or you are qualified in the criteria, then the lowest price that they are going to take, and yours is the lowest price. It's very simple, very straightforward. It becomes complex when you start negotiating in this, in which multiple interests will keep on playing. I will discuss this in detail, because this complex nature is it is literally, I will tell you, the negotiation is a complex process. Very rarely we find that a straightforward process. In straightforward process, you love your wife and your wife also loves you back. You negotiated, you will be living together happily. You love your children, the children also reverts back with the love. It's very simple. You respect your teacher, teacher gives you more knowledge. Very simple, very straightforward. You went to a shop, paid the price for it, negotiated a bet, they gave you 5% discount, you took it. Very straightforward. But for business, for trading, this becomes very, very complex. In fact, it is most complex in business and diplomatic negotiations. Very, very complex. Okay. Cross culture and opposite sex. This is very important. What happens is, during negotiation, when it is cross cultural, it becomes very difficult for both the parties to understand the culture of one another. I am not talking about the culture of ethnic nature. I am talking about the organizational culture. I am talking about the culture of their business. I am talking about even the culture of their negotiation process. When I will talk about the where the negotiation is going to be held, the place is very, very important. I will elaborate on that, but let me just tell you here. If you have negotiated with 5, 10 such kind of companies, if suppose one company sits in a very small room and ultimately negotiates across a small table and almost the head close by, it's one kind of culture. Another is the negotiator who is negotiating with you to give you a project, and he sits in front of you and starts bullying you, starts harassing you, starts becoming autocratic. It's a culture. You think about another one in which opposite to you is an opponent who is sitting and ultimately having a very sweet discussion, very soft, sweet, sober, suave discussion, finally resulting into your loss. Is a culture. Okay? So, its cross culture is very, very important to be understood, and also it varies when there is an opposite sex. Like, say, if you are dealing with a lady, if you are a male and you are dealing with a woman, then the sex difference also brings different kind of culture. A negotiation amongst the women folks by a woman person is very easy, but a negotiation with a large women folks by a male member is complex. Opposite is also true. Quite often I hear that if suppose a company has a lady boss, people complain. But suppose there are many ladies who are workers and there is a male boss, ladies complain. So, basically there is in such kind of cases, in the whole negotiation language changes, the negotiation mannerism changes. So, it is this is a different kind. It has to be understood, it has to be also researched. It is not very straightforward. Okay. Then comes scheduled and unscheduled. Scheduled and unscheduled is a very interesting thing. Scheduled type of negotiation is when you know that you are going to negotiate. That means there is a process, there is a time of announcing, there is a time of appointment, and then the whole thing goes on. In unscheduled, what happens is suddenly the negotiation starts. It happened to me several times when I have gone through all this process of scheduled and unscheduled in different times. Somebody met me and then learned that I am an architect and he wants his building to be designed by me, and then he suddenly asked me a question. I have a project which you can design for me. What's your price? What's your fees? It's very unscheduled, I'll tell you. Very, very unscheduled. I am suddenly I have to be alert that he is asking for. Am I going to quote low? Am I quoting low or am I quoting high to lose this project? So, it is unscheduled. If suppose somebody tells that I have to get a property designed by you and let us meet 7 days after, and this is the kind of the nature of property which you have to design for, can you work out your fees and come back? Scheduled. But quite often, most often you are unscheduled, and unscheduled negotiations are very common on the marketplace. On the marketplace, you are walking and having a window shopping, and suddenly you saw one garment and you entered inside, and then you asked for the price, and then immediately if the seller is smart enough and he has watched you through the show window, that you got stuck, you were walking and suddenly you got stuck looking at that particular item, and the item cost 3,000. He knows that you got stuck because you liked it, and then only you entered. That means now you are keen to get it. Immediately he will say 3,500. He knows very well that it's 3,000. He will first say 3,500. You feel that no, it is not worth 3,500. Then you will start, you will say, will you be able to give at 2,500? The answer is no. Okay, if the answer is no, and you also say fine, thank you, goodbye, and you leave, then negotiation doesn't take place, also the agreement doesn't take place. But if the person says no, I cannot give at 2,500, but let me work it out if I can give you slightly lesser than 3,500, because he knows ultimately he is going to come down to 3, and you don't know that whether 3 is the price. It is your judgment, it's your experience by which you judged the value of this as 2,500, but you are ready to pay 3,000, and the negotiation goes on. He keeps on reducing the value bit by bit, you keep on increasing your value bit by bit. At some point it matches and both of you are happy, take it. It's unscheduled, very much unscheduled. Okay, this is how the whole type of negotiation goes on. I consider negotiation as a game, very simply a game. When it is a game which you are playing, that means you are ready to negotiate. I have just given an example just now for a garment. You asked for a price, instantly the seller escalated the price. Let me tell you certain things which happens in the market, because I had been talking to several people who are in this negotiation process. Very interestingly, once it happened, I went to a shop and I was looking at the garments and I was asking for a price of an item. The person told me a price. Instantly at that particular moment, another person entered and looked at the same item, asked for the price. Very interestingly or surprising to me, that the price which he quoted for me is lesser than the price he quoted to the other person. How can it be possible? The same commodity, two persons are coveting it, two persons are being quoted two different prices. Okay, let's take an example. Suppose I have been quoted a price called 3,000, and then he will be told 3,500. They will negotiate, they will keep on negotiating, and then finally the negotiation will stop and this person will leave without buying it. Then this person will come back to me, and now 3,000. When I said how come that you quoted a price as 3,000 and you quoted him as 3,500, their experience, they say, sir, this person will always come and always negotiate and bargain. Since he will always bargain, it is always advantageous for us to raise the price and then come down to his bargain price, because I have the same items, two pieces in my shop. I can give you a 3,000, and if he reduces to 3,000, I will also give him another one. But I know that if I would have started with the right price as 3,000, he would have bargained and bargained and bargained without success, but waste my time. He would have tried to bring it down to 2,500, which you are not doing, because you thought that 3,000 is worth. And in fact, I will tell you, sir, that I asked 3,500 for him, and ultimately he lost in the whole bargain process. He left and I did not sell him, but since you did not bargain, I will give you some discount. So I got it lesser than 3,000. So the point is, in the whole process you have to understand the psyche of the people who are playing in it. It's a game plan, total. So I consider negotiation as a game. In that game there are players, and their players is, in this case I am a buyer and the seller, all these are players. In this game what happens is, you have to know the players. Basically what I am trying is, I am trying to make you richer in the idea of negotiation. I am trying to build the soft skills in your negotiation. So naturally always consider that you are the person who is going to do the activities in negotiations later. Okay, so know the players, your own team, because quite often in the negotiation, other than these examples like going to a shop, when there is one person, 1 to 1, okay, that means two party, and there could be multi-party. That means, so in such kind of cases when there are multi-parties, that means, its situation is something like this. In a negotiation, you have gone for a negotiation alone and you are facing say about 10, 12, 5, 6 persons in front. That means it's one too many. You have gone for a negotiation when you are going to meet another person who is going to negotiate with you. It's 1-to-1. So, it's two-party negotiation. And when it is, a group of you have gone for negotiation and there is only one person sitting across and he is negotiating with all of you, is also one too many. So, now the one too many has changed. That means, it's one is you too many, and in the other case is one too many, but these two are not same. It's something like, if suppose you as a service provider or a professional has gone to secure a contract of a project, architectural project, let's say, and you have gone to meet the client, and the client is a chairman and sitting alone and he is speaking to you, he is going to be the decision maker and giving the job. So, here even if he is one, he is as good as many. Same is on your side. If you are the owner and you decide the final price of the agreement, then in such case, even if there are 10-12 persons sitting, but you are one, you are as good as many. So, here physically what I mean by one too many or one too many, okay? That is how it is to be, or 1-to-1. But when you are many going for negotiation, then you must know your team. So, know the players, all the members whom you have carried. You did not want to waste their time, you have carried them for some reasons. You must have carried them along with you for the negotiation for certain reasons. One is either they are going to help you in providing information. So, I will come to that. Okay? So, know the players. First is your own team you must know, and also you must know the team, the opponents. Take any cases, good example of group team oriented games like hockey, football, cricket. You do not know that the thing is, the cricket teams who is competing with another country's cricket team, they watch the past performances of that opponent team to know the strength and weaknesses of individual members and the teamworks. That means, knowing the opponent is very important, very, very, very important. At the same time, knowing your own people also is very important. Same thing happens. Selection committee in a cricket team, they find out individual skills of individual persons, and then they also try to judge the teamworks, okay, and then decide whether this person is going to be included in the team or not, because it's a teamwork. Somebody who is a very good batsman in the cricket does not necessarily become a member in the team, if in case he found that he is teamwork wise is not very strong. Okay. It could be situations like, say, when you are knowing the team, your own team or the opponents, whether it's introvert kind or extrovert kind, or have inhibitions, or maybe following ethics or non-ethics. Is there any limitations of the strengths? That means, you are going to find out the introvert, extrovert nature, inhibitions nature, or the ethics followed by these groups and their limitations and strengths. So, it is not only for your team, it is also for opponents. It is very easy for you to find out all these points for your own team, but it is very difficult to find out of the opponents. It is because of which I always say that before going for negotiation, do a background research of the opponents. How you do it? Through referrals or through interacting, or you bring them down to the negotiation table only after a few interactions by which you have understood them. These are all game plans. Okay? Know your oppositions. I am highlighting this. In this oppositions, first you try to find out whomever you are meeting, if it is a team of multi members. Okay? In such cases, you try to find out who has really the authority, because I will tell you, it is very foolish or unwise to spend hours and hours negotiating with somebody who is not authorized to take a decision, and finally end up 2 hours of discussion says, okay, fine, I am going to carry this information to our boss, and who is going to take the final call. Then your 3 hours got wasted. In such cases, what you should do is, if you are smart, if you are knowledgeable about it, the opponent's status, first you try to find out the status. It's a salespersons who are going to go for selling their products and also negotiating. In such cases, they always through some means try to find out who is the actual authority, who is the actual boss, who is the final person who will say yes or no, and then they will try to avoid all in between people. and try to request for for some bit of pleasantry or courtesy. They will meet them once or twice, but they will always put their points in their wraps, in the up their sleeves, which will be opened up in front of the actual decision maker. Okay, so status and authority, and that means, is it a real status or real authority, or apparent status or apparent authority? It makes a lot of difference in negotiation. What happens is, you have gone for a meeting in negotiation, and then you do not know out of these 5 persons who is the final authority of to say yes or no. This is a dangerous game, and you have to play. It's a risky game. You may make some mistakes. The best is, in such cases, I'll advise you friends, is try to find out from inside people that who is the actual authority. It's not necessarily the chairman, I can tell you. It's not always the chairman, though the chairman or director is going to finally sign the approval. But he is going to sign only yes based on the notes forwarded in favor of you by some lower rung people. So you have to know, then in such cases I consider not the chairman is the real authority for this. Actually, the authority or the status of that in-between person on whose noting, on whose support chairman will blindly sign, is the person of authority for selection or decision. You have to find that out. If you can find that out very carefully and then play a game very, very smoothly without giving any hint that you have understood it or you have found it out who is the real authority, and parallelly when you are appeasing or say pleasing the chairman, you also start pleasing this gentleman, because he is going to take, basically he can be your supporter or he can be your impediment to getting the contract. This you have to understand. Okay. So the players in your opponent group, the players can be divided in 2 categories. One is the on-field and there is off-field. On-field people are who are sitting in front of you. Off-field people are whom you are not meeting, but they are giving some information to this particular team from the background, whom you are not meeting. How are they? The on-field persons who are coordinating, that means he is calling for the meetings and he is making everybody sit together for negotiation. He is working on the schedule, he is working on the protocols, he is inviting all the members, and he is also declaring that which are the members of your team are going to come, and everything. So what happens is, when the negotiation starts, there is a common introduction that goes on, that coordinator on field is the person who is going to anchor the whole thing. Amongst the whole team there will be some speakers. It may be one, it may be more than one. But if everybody on the opponent side keeps on speaking, then you should take it for granted your negotiation is not going to be fruitful at all, because that is not really wise to have everybody talking. And at the same time, if you remember, I said during my soft skill discussion, the cross talking is negative. Okay, so it's a speaker and there is shooter. Shooter is a person amongst this particular group who will shoot questions, who will shoot doubts, who will shoot skepticism, who will shoot disagreement, and they are playing on field. You have to be very careful. You have to know who is shooting, and you always try to answer to the person who is shooting any question. Suppose this person shoots you a question or a query or a fact and figure, and you answer to the rest, it's meaningless. You should be answering him, and do respond to him in such a manner that his point is taken care of. Okay? And then comes linesman. Amongst them, there will be some persons who will be sitting idle, not really speaking, but he is giving signals to others. They are called linesmen. These are basically these items like, say, coordinator, speaker, shooter, linesman. When we have researched, we have found out that these are the way the best expresses their situations. Okay? Then comes the blocker. Somebody amongst that group who will, if he knows that the negotiation is going into the negative for themselves or their benefits, they will block the whole negotiation. They will simply say at some point of time, I don't think we should go for purchase of this, or I don't think that we should be really appointing this particular consultant at this moment. I don't think this project should be taken up further at this particular point. So let's stop this negotiation and we'll meet again whenever we'll be in a position to discuss. Blocked. They are blockers. They are, basically they are all players who are well rehearsed, and they are, experienced person who will block. And then the stopper. The blocker is going to block, and the stopper is going to really stop. See, the stopper is, he is going to stop you at intermediate points. but the blocker is going to block the whole negotiation. How is it? It's just like football game, as I do see. Very simply, even like hockey games. The stopper, tries to stop you at your points. Whenever you are raising a particular point in favor of yourself during negotiation, this stopper is going to stop you first. He should see that you are not going further on this particular issue because that's negative for them. But the blocker is going to block the whole stuff. Okay? Then comes off-field approver. That means there is somebody who may not be sitting in this room, but he is the final approving authority who approves. And then there are timer who is keeping the time of this negotiation into perspective, that how much time, how many negotiations, how many discussions have you had, how many meetings did you have, and today's discussion, how long should it go. They'll keep on giving signals to their people either through mobile phones or through any other signals that okay, now it's time, please close it up, stop it. There are timers who are off field, you don't see them, and there are observers. Amongst these 5 or 6 persons who came for the negotiation among the opponent groups, you might find one person is sitting and he's just watching. He hardly spoke a single word. He might have simply introduced himself and then kept on sitting idle. You might think that he has brought they have brought one idle man here. No, he is a person who is observing the whole negotiation. He is a person basically off field means he is really not playing. Okay, and there could be off-field observer. Most often, in fact, I have written observer here for one reason. The observer is the group or the person who are sitting behind the back and who is, whenever there is some information being flown to them, they will give their observation on that. And these observations are generally oblique observations. You remember I have talked about the oblique observations. Everybody is going in the same line. Suppose it's an integrative negotiation going on. Okay, we are now coming to an end. Suddenly the observer gives an observation saying, I think there is some mistake we are making. I think this particular item should not be included in their scope of work. Observer has given. Okay, that's how it is. He's not a stopper, he's not a blocker. He is trying to give his observation for the benefit of the team for which he is working or playing. What is the team? The opponent's team. Okay, and then resolver. Off field there should be some people who will be resolving the issues, because there could be quite often a situation when the whole negotiation had come to a sort of an impasse. That means there is it's just not going further anymore. Then there will be somebody who is off field, not necessarily on field. He may not be on the table. What will happen is, if suppose something has been found that this negotiation is not leading to a benefit of the party, like say client, and client wants to buy some more time, then what he'll do is he will simply say, let's discuss it the next day. And then they will go to the persons in their off-field team, and in which there will be a resolver. He will analyze the whole situation and then come to a point saying maybe that what they are asking for is right. Give them this opportunity and also get some more benefits out of, or more privileges out of paying that, accepting their demands. So persons, they are called resolver. They will be resolving it, and then there will be controller. There is somebody who is going to, behind the back, is going to control the whole negotiation from the opponent's side. See, this is very, very interesting part, isn't it? That means you are going for negotiation. You are playing a game with a team in which there are some who are visible and there are some who are invisible. Same thing will happen to your team as well. Only thing is, here you may not have an opportunity to know every opponent at this particular point. But for your own team, you should be knowing every person. Okay? Then I will discuss about this in my next lecture.